Welcome to Esalen Live, where we chat with change agents and swim deep waters in an ongoing exploration of potential. I'm your host, Christine Chen. We are almost done with 2020. Who wants a fresh start? We're talking about rituals for new beginnings as we reach the final weeks of an unprecedented year. Today on Esalen Live, we have Erica Keswin, an author, top 100 coach in the business world, and founder of the Spaghetti Project. Her book, Bring Your Human to Work, is a bestseller, and her new book comes out next month. It's called The Rituals Roadmap. It comes out in January, and we will be carrying it in the Esalen bookstore with a special little bit of it that I want to tell you about later. But first, let's welcome Erica Keswin to Esalen Live. Hi, Erica. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining and happy holidays. It's a great time for rituals this time of year, but in general in 2020 it feels like a lot more people have been leaning into rituals. Can you tell me more about that?
100%. So, I finished this book in March of 2020 and I handed it in and I was quarantining along with everybody else thinking, wow, what on earth is going to happen? And I started to reach back out to many of the people I had spoken to who I interviewed for the book and really found that rituals can help us during the most turbulent times. And one example that was really interesting to me, I live right now, I'm in Colorado, but I live in New York City. One of the rituals that started during quarantine was that every night at 7 p.m., people would stand on their rooftops or stick their heads out the window and bang pots and pans and celebrate the frontline workers. And what started off as something very organic and authentic and really came to be this ritual that happened every single night at 7 o'clock. And what we find with rituals is that they create order out of chaos, which is really important for many of us right now. And I know we'll talk more about why rituals are important, but just even with that example, it was something that you knew was going to happen at the same day at the same time, which really was calming for people in the midst of what was a very scary situation.
And to be honest, it was also quite magical to watch everyone come together when they couldn't be together. Can you describe what that magic of the ritual? What's in it? There's like a secret sauce almost.
Yeah. So the subtitle of the book is How Rituals Transform Everyday Routines into magic, magic at work, magic at home, magic in life. And that's what a ritual can do for us. So, what is a ritual? First, a ritual is something that you can't imagine it not happening in your day. Again, kind of like that 7 p.m. time where people came together to cheer on the frontline workers. But a second part of a ritual is that it's something that goes beyond its practical purpose. And so what do I mean by that? Let's say I light a candle. That might be a ritual. It might not be a ritual. If I light a candle because the light behind me in my room goes out, it's probably not a ritual. But if I light a candle every Friday at 5 o'clock to signify the transition from the work week to the weekend, that can become a ritual because it almost elevates that experience into something bigger, into something more meaningful. And that's where the magic happens.
Right. And I think that rituals can be so different for everyone. There's such a wide range of what qualifies as a ritual. But it sounds like what you're saying here and what we love at Esalen so much is that there's intention and meaning and heart behind the action. Is that pretty much it?
Yes, 100%. And, something might start off as a ritual and it may change over time. You can't force feed a ritual. I can't say, okay, to my kids and my husband, this is going to be our ritual. You can try that. And sometimes there's a stickiness to a ritual. They come from the top down, the bottom up, the inside out. Sometimes when I talk to people, a ritual got started and the person who started it is not even there anymore, whether it's an old friend or somebody that they worked with, but the ritual has persevered, over the ages. But I think what we should mention here is, what are the benefits of rituals? Why should we care about rituals? We know, especially going into the new year. We all want a fresh start, a new beginning, new rituals, new resolutions, but why are they important? And as I wrote the book, I came up with an equation to help people crystallize the benefits that they get from rituals, and I call it the 3 Ps. So the first P is that rituals give us a sense of psychological safety and a sense of belonging, which again, especially with what we've gone through this year, is something that we really need. And a little bit later, we can share some of the data behind it. The second P is that rituals give us an opportunity to connect to purpose. I mean, think about that 7 p.m. example, banging your pots and pans for the frontline workers. We were feeling in that time so out of sorts, but 7 p.m., we had a purpose. We came together and we cheered on those workers, and it made us feel good. It made us feel safe. We felt a part of something. I remember I came back to New York City a couple times, and I felt part of that community and a real sense of belonging. So psychological safety plus purpose equals the third P, which is performance. These rituals make us feel good. Our oxytocin, our feel good hormone goes up, our cortisol, our stress goes down. If we think about this in the context of our work and our teams, it actually leads to higher performing teams as well. And so all in all, I don't think you can go wrong with incorporating rituals into your life.
I know that most of this is speaking to the business world and how we are at work, but really we are at work is a lot of how we show up in our own homes right now. And I know that some of this research that you did, there's a really good story about firefighters in there, which I think really demonstrates the power of
Mhm.
ritual in a very real and almost life-changing way, life-saving way in this case. Can you talk about that a little while I put up this picture you sent me?
Yeah, sure. So when I was writing my first book, Bring Your Human to Work, I came across a study out of Cornell University that was done by a professor named Kevin Niffen. And Kevin was looking at team performance. What makes one team higher performing than another team? And his dad was a firefighter. And so he said, I'm going to study firefighters and the firehouses to do my research. And the short story, the short version of what Kevin found was that the firefighters who were the most dedicated to the ritual of the firehouse meal, like the guys here in the photo, sitting around the table, bringing their whole selves, building trust, there was a correlation with higher levels of performance, and those firefighters actually saved more lives. And when I read this study, it really was a true goosebump moment for me about the real bottom line implications, personally and professionally, of bringing your whole self to work and having rituals where you connect with people. And so it was a really great example. I'm so glad you wanted me to talk about it, of the science behind why connection matters for all of us. And while we all may not be on the front lines in the hospitals right now or firefighters, these rituals can impact us in all aspects of our lives. And the reason when you introduced me earlier, you said I'm the founder of the Spaghetti Project. After I was so blown away by this study, I actually changed the name of my company to the Spaghetti Project, named for the firefighters and their stereotypical ritualistic meal of spaghetti.
And I think that's part of what we're missing so much right now. And there's like a sense of um, feeling inside that what we want so much, and I'm an introvert and no one believes me, but like what we want so much is that connection. And sometimes we don't remember that the ritual of maybe sitting down to break bread, make a meal, like connects us in a way. And maybe that's what we need to bring back, even if it's in our own homes with just the people we're in our bubble
Mhm.
and quarantining. Would you say that?
Yeah. Yeah, one example I can share, going back to why rituals really ground us during turbulent times and give us that sense of safety. Back in March, we quarantining. I was with my 3 kids and my dog and my husband, and one of our family rituals is that we have Taco Tuesday, every Tuesday. And so I decided that even though we were in a different place, on that first Tuesday when we were in quarantine, we were going to have our tacos. And my kids came into the kitchen, and I could see this transformation in that moment where they smelled the same smells and they saw what we were having for dinner. And they're not 5 and 7 years old, my kids are teenagers, but there was this sense of, we're going to be okay. We're part of this family, this sense of safety, a connection to purpose. And so I really saw it firsthand. And so it could be with just the people in our bubble, or it could be, connecting through ritual with yourself as well.
Yeah, and I think that also when you can rely on something like that in a ritual, it makes you feel a little bit more safe, which speaks to that psychological safety.
Yes.
I want to invite you at home, those of you who are with us on Facebook Live, would you share in the comments a ritual that you might have done during quarantine or might even start to do in the new year, maybe even inspired by what Erica just shared with us about her Taco Tuesday while we continue, and we're going to share a little bit more about the. Hey, Erica.
Hey, I think this is what we're doing. We're live. Something happened with the internet. So I am moving as we speak.
Tell
Let's
us where
see.
you're taking us.
Okay. So I'm in the kitchen at the moment. You can see this. Let's see. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Where did you take us?
Okay. So yeah, I'm downstairs in the kitchen, and now to make sure that we don't hear the buzzing from the dishwasher. Luckily, nobody's home. So let's see how this goes. So yeah, I saw you showed the picture of the 10 chapters in the book and all of the different kinds of rituals that I talk about. And the last chapter is how can we bring this into our own lives? How can you design your own rituals roadmap? And that's what I love about this, is that it's different for all of us. You can see which kinds of rituals resonate and then put it into practice in your own life.
Yeah, Nancy just joined us and said, I joined a meditation group. That's a nice one. Thank you for sharing that. Might inspire somebody else. There are three that you specifically chose for us to kind of kick us off on a new beginning ritual for those of us who are joining on Esalen Community's Facebook page here. I love this first one. It's so easy, but it means a lot because of the morning. Tell us more about this, Erica. Make your bed.
Yeah, wake up and make your bed. There's actually a whole book that's called Make Your Bed. And, rituals for new beginnings. The first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is a great opportunity for a ritual. And, making your bed gives you a sense of accomplishment. You can bring, to Nancy's point, is joining a meditation group. That could be a time when you meditate, when you're making your bed, which is then elevating that act to a higher level. Some people talk about just staying in bed and doing a few deep breaths. Many have shared that they do a gratitude journaling or reciting 3 things that they're grateful for in the morning. So again, it's not that it has to be making your bed, but thinking about a way to have something that you can repeat every day. And I love the phrase, start as you mean to go on. Start the day with purpose and giving you a sense of connection. And that's a huge opportunity. Why not start the day off, giving yourself that sense of intention and elevation?
Right. And making the bed, even just that, requires your attention in that moment to do the
Yep.
thing that you're showing up to do, right? What are a couple of, just give us a couple more make your bed like rituals that we can maybe start in the new year that will set us off this way? Show up.
Exactly. Just show up. I would say I'll share my own morning ritual is that, I go and get a cup of coffee. I usually go to Starbucks or if there's one near me. And one of the things I used to get my coffee and sit there and, I live in New York, so I'm very fast paced, and I would make my to-do list and busy, busy, busy. And one day I said to myself, wow, I look forward to this cup of coffee every day, but I don't even taste it. And so now I really transformed that ritual, that first thing in the morning ritual, and I take the cup and I just put it on my hands, take a few deep breaths, feel the heat sort of going through me, and then I'm ready to start the day.
Yeah, I'm with you on the morning coffee ritual. I do the same thing. I look out my window, I have a cup, I sit in a chair, like all those intentional things that you talked about before. The
Yep.
second one is so relevant, the one that you're offering us for rituals for new beginnings, these intentional screen breaks. And oh, I want to shout out Elizabeth that says, keep a gratitude attitude. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's a great one. Hopefully that helps someone else as well. So screen break is your number two, Erica. This 2020 is another idea. Tell us about that.
Great. So when I think about opportunities for rituals and you think about your day, how you start your day, but also how you take breaks. Many of us are on our screens much more than we would like to admit, but we need to get work done, and that's how we're getting it done right now. And so one idea for a ritual around taking a break is 20 20 20. Every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break 20 feet from your computer. And I just think it's an amazing way to take a break, get off the screen, get you up and moving, and building that in a way that keeps your energy levels up. And I think many people just are sitting in one place all day. And many times rituals will have benefits to your lives, health and wellness in a variety of different ways. So whether you're trying to get your 10,000 steps in, or whether that's when you want to do your meditation, building something like that into your routine again can then elevate it to something that you look forward to something that you can't imagine not being a part of your day.
So let's do it again, just so I can remember this and do this for myself. every 20 minutes, take a 20-minute break 20 feet away from my computer. Is that right?
No, every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break. So
Okay,
it's
I was like, wait, that's not
quick.
productive for
And
me.
you'll just go and you'll take a deep breath, or you can change the numbers to what works for you. This is what one woman shared that she does, that really every 20 minutes she's got to move away from her screen. Another way to think about this is there's a gentleman named Tony Schwartz, who's the CEO of something called the Energy Project. And what he found is that when you're thinking about your circadian rhythms and how often we should get up and move, for him, he talks about every 90 minutes, we've got to take a break and make it a longer break. And maybe we go
Mm,
outside and get some, air and walk around in nature. That every 90-minute mark is where we need a longer break. So think
yeah.
about it, goes back to designing your own roadmap and what works for you and what works for your schedule. Are your kids all home during doing school? Are you taking care of other people in your lives? Breaks are critical. So think about your own schedule and what might work best.
This is really inspiring. I think I'm inspired to expand. What I have is the top of the hour. I take a stretch break for 2 minutes when I'm really, because I get really focused in my screen, but I
Yeah.
think maybe I'll expand it. Thanks for the inspiration, Erica. This one is a lot about what we talked about with the firefighters, eating to connect. And this is eating with intention with others, or maybe even connecting to yourself. Could it be that too?
Yeah. So again, we think about our day. Where are there opportunities for rituals? We're having 3 meals a day, most of us. And so those are, again, great opportunities to build in rituals. And there are days where I want to have a more mindful lunch where I'm using that time to connect with myself, getting off of my email, tasting the food, trying to slow down after a number of Zoom calls. On the other hand, I have a ritual where once a week I'll do a Zoom lunch with people in my network with the intention to truly just catch up and support each other. And I have a group of women who I used to do spaghetti project events where, based on the firefighter study, I host events where people come together and, face to face, these amazing groups of people. We're not doing that anymore. But now on Zoom, I'm able to maintain those relationships with the idea of how can we come together over a meal, not always spaghetti, and support each other. So sometimes my ritual is alone and sometimes it's with others. But in both cases, the idea is around connection.
Erica, these are such great things to think about. I just want to remind those of you who are joining us and those of you who will watch this later, her book, Rituals Roadmap, that talks about all of this, comes out in January. We will be carrying it in the Esalen shop, 5 specific copies. The first 5 copies will be signed in a very special Esalen way from Erica Keswin, who joins us here on Esalen Live today. This has been so enlightening and such a great reminder for so many reasons, Erica. Thanks so much for sharing your research and helping inspire us for Rituals for New Beginnings. Any last words? What do you want us to take away from all of this?
The through line of my work, if I were to boil it down to one sentence, is about honoring relationships. And so as you go into this new year and you're looking for new beginnings, think about ways that you can honor relationships with everyone in your life, from your family and friends to your colleagues, but most importantly, honoring that relationship with yourself. And a great way to do that is through rituals.
So well said. Erica Keswin, author and such a great coach for all of us this morning and heading into the all important 2021. Can't wait, right?
Yeah, yes, just a few more days.
Yeah, just a few more days. Thank you, Erica. Stay connected here at Esalen, esalen.org, also on Facebook and Instagram. Have a great day, everybody. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.